EM Weekly starting right now, bringing emergency managers from around the world together to learn, share and collaborate.
Hey, welcome to, excuse me, I got a little cough going on. Welcome to the EM Weekly Show. This is your host, Todd DeVoe, and I have Dan Scott, my co-host, with me, and our guest is, well, it's live TV, right? And so he'll get here when he gets here. And
emergency management for you, man. That tells you got to go with the flow.
Absolutely. Semper Gumby, right? You know, I was really looking forward to talking to Eric about the 30 ways in 30 days, because this is National Preparedness Month. I know it's we're coming up to the end of it. But did you know that National Preparedness Month has themes?
I did.
And what's the theme? What's the theme for this week, Dan?
Youth preparedness.
Youth preparedness. What's that mean exactly?
Well, it means preparing our youth. It means equipping them for what they need to be prepared for an emergency.
I like the idea of when you start doing youth programs, and I know another classmate of ours has the MyPI program for schools, which is, we can get into that a little bit. He's actually been a guest in the show as well, discussing that. But the youth preparedness programs, I think, are great, because then you're starting, you know, at that young age. And if you think about like the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts of America, you know, starting, you know, at the almost pre-kindergarten now, you know.
Yeah, it's young.
Yeah. You know, getting ready to be prepared for things or outside. It's the skills that they keep with their entire life, you know. So
I think more than that, though. I think it's more than that. When you target them young, you actually get the parents as well. When you go after the kids, I mean, and you educate them, they take it. And then when you give them, especially when you give them assignments, when they're involved in a program, you give them assignments, their parents have to help with that. And they learn as well, whether they want to believe it or not. Parents learn as well. So that's why fire is so good at targeting the kids to take it home to the parents.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a friend of mine created a program called the Junior Paramedic Program, and he ran it in LA County, California, for a long time. I think that the program's gone away, actually. But when he was running it, it was really kind of cool, because what they would do was it was a curriculum, it was approved by the school, it was a week long, and for an entire week, they just went over safety preparedness stuff. And you're right, and it gave kids homework. And a matter of fact, the program is credited with saving lives, because kids knew how to call 911. And then one of the parents was having a stroke or something, and they called 911 and got life services there and saved a life. You know, so programs like that do work, you know.
Yeah, you know, even in high schools, you know, I've heard that I've talked to people that have actually incorporated first aid, CPR, and other response type training over a semester in high school, because you devote an hour a few times a week to a certain subject. And when they come out of that semester, they've got training in first aid, CPR, fire safety, and these things. So, and then they get they're older, an older group too. They can do these things. They can actually perform CPR and first aid tactics. And some of them, you know, that's when they develop, they want to be lifeguards, and they would decide what they want to be, a fireman or police officer, and they can develop these skills and these certificates to take with them to other programs. And it's absolutely a benefit, not only to the school, but to the individual, the youth that are actually attending those classes. And they make it where it's not necessarily an elective. You know what I mean? It's something you have to learn these things going through school.
Yeah, when I was in school, high school, we had to take first aid and CPR. It was part of our health program. You know, so I think, I forget if it was our freshman year, I think it was. Anyway, we had to take it. American Red Cross, one of those teachers, I think it was my football coach, actually, you know, certified everybody, took the whole thing. So and that was back when it was actually with CPR. I don't remember when CPR was actually like a hard class to take.
It was, because it changed every year. And it still changes, but it's not every year. But yeah, it's, you know, ultimately, and now and you know, I see these pushes all over the place for CPR and first aid to be a mandatory class before you graduate. And I think that's a great initiative. You know, the more people that know how to respond to an emergency, the better it is for the individual that they may be helping. And ultimately as well, the people that they're probably going to end up using those skills on are their family and friends.
Absolutely. And oh, good. I just got some word that Eric is here. We'll bring him here in a second. I just want to finish though with the whole youth thing. Is the Brenda Emmerich from Costa Mesa Fire Department in Costa Mesa, California, is one of the lead CERT instructors in. I'm going to branch out a little bit and say in the world. She's kind of the person to go to, and she created or was part of the program that started the Teen CERT program and Teen Ambassador program for CERT, and it's such a cool program to look at, and she just goes all over the world and does this stuff for the youth. So you're absolutely right. So before we bring Eric on, so Kevin says a skill that develops into reasonable and lifestyle and accountability once it starts to spread through the family and the community. Absolutely, Kevin. That is absolutely correct. And I think that's kind of a good segue into creating skills that transcend through your workplace and through the community is the 30 ways in 30 days. And I want to bring Eric Frank up on the screen. Eric, myself, and Dan, we were all in the Executive Academy together, and it was great. And we were on Team 6, right? Yay!
Team 6.
Yeah, like the SEAL Team 6. We're like SEAL Team 6, but not as cool, right?
Not as deadly.
Right.
So, Eric, welcome to the Ian Weekly Show.
Hey, it's good to see you guys. It's been a while.
Yeah. So, tell me, how did you come up with the idea of the 30 Days for 30 Ways for National Preparedness Month, and how's the program grown since you started it?
So the program actually started back in 2010, and as we were leading into National Preparedness Month, our director at the time was tired of writing the same announcement every single day or every year related to national preparedness, and then having it. Sorry, I'm at my mom's house for I'm visiting family this week.
That's okay.
But anyways, she got tired of writing just the same post that we did every single year, telling people to be prepared, and did nothing more. So she on the August 31st, we came up this challenge of giving one daily challenge each and every day for 30 days to help keep people better prepared. Over the 10 years or 11 years now, the game has actually grown to where we went that first year, we had like 30 little challenges that were competed by the people that were there. But as time has went on, we've actually had players in 44 states and 38 countries. And we've had well over 25,000 pieces or challenges that have been completed over the time.
What's like a sample challenge? Like what are one of the things what's one of the ones that you like the best when you created this thing?
So over the years, there's things that we do every single year, like in connecting with your emergency manager. And so you know where to get your local emergency information when you need it. Those are some of the things that we do every year. We always do something related to the favorite item in your kit that you may have. We always talk about pets and little ones or your littles in your family, those types of core pieces that are part of preparedness. One of the ones that still sticks out to me one year that we did was what was the craziest item that you ever had in your kit. And we had such a great response to that one. We've also done things around, Talk Like a Pirate Day is usually September 19th, and we've tied that in. And we've done other ones about pop culture to tie in some other things to really try to make it an online and engaging game through those years. We learned through the process at times where the one year we tried where everybody just emailed in their answers, and we realized the great thing about the 30 days challenge is that it's the engagement that happens online. And so playing it on social media where people respond and put their comments on Facebook or through Twitter, and then others can see those and respond, really drives the conversations much more than them just sending in an answer to us.
Good idea.
So where can does someone need to go to be able to find this program? It sounds like it's a fun thing. It sounds like you're reaching out not just all over the world. So where can they go to find this program?
So it has its own website. You can go to 30days30ways.com, and it has all of the list of each of the day's challenges so far that we've launched yet this year. You can go to its own Facebook page. So it's at Facebook 30 Days 30 Ways, or it has its own Twitter hashtag at 30 days, 30 ways. So it can be found on all those platforms I share out there, and you use the hashtag 30 days, 30 ways, you'll find it. We've also partnered in the last several years with 30 Days, 30 Ways UK that made a copy of ours a little bit, and they're playing it over in the UK in a little different fashion. But it's available really easy to find on our website or linking it and finding it on Facebook.
You have related programs as far as like Fire Safety Week in October, or other safety like their CPR Week in July, and stuff like that? Do you have those kind of that it goes with those safety programs as well, or is it just the Safety Preparedness Month?
So we've always done it just during the month of September, that ties into National Preparedness Month. But we have tried to tie in things related to fire protection, and so we usually have done at least one challenge in there that's related to getting out of your house for doing an evacuation drill for fire safety. We tied into because of Shakeout month happens in October. We tie it into the Shakeout that leads into October. So we really try to tie it into the other themes that happen around preparedness and some of our partners in public safety to bring them together.
And the cool part about the 30 days, 30 ways program is it makes preparedness fun. I mean, we always talk about preparedness as being like the scary thing. If you don't do it, the earthquake's going to kill you type thing. But we have to find ways to bring people into the program. I love the logo, the little flashlight guy with the hard hat on, and the whole 9 yards. It's great.
We just had a comment too. Someone praising the program. So they say they live in Clark County, and they're thanking Eric for what he does and saying that they utilize that program, which is awesome.
Yeah, and
that's awesome to hear.
Oh, go ahead, Eric.
I was going to just say this year's been a little bit of a challenge with everything that was going on to pull it together, but we felt it was still important to bring it out there. The wildfires happened right about the time we were launching for the month, so we really haven't been able to promote it as much this month as we normally do. But yeah, it's still there, and we're still running those challenges on a daily basis.
So here's a good example. There's our Eric right there in his little video that he puts on there, and this is the day 24 challenge, right? And it says for today's challenge, we want to talk about financial readiness. And I think it's, that's a good thing too, is it's not just about having a kit built, right? It's the financial readiness and things like that make things really important. And, even simple tips that I saw out there was like, make sure that you keep your car filled to half a tank, and especially in areas that need to evacuate and things it's just great little tips like that. And I love the community that's built around it, especially on the Facebook page. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, we've done everything from cybersecurity and thinking about how to keep those documents safe, and walking through and taking a video of your home and your room, so if you do have a house fire, you have a record of those types of things. We really try to touch on a large gamut of things through those 30 days. We've been talking about hand washing and sanitation long before it was the cool thing to do this year. So those are some issues that we talk about on a regular basis, and we try to tie in there throughout the year.
Now, these resources are free, right?
Yes, absolutely. Everything is free. And then we award points. And so the more challenges that people actually complete, and they have until midnight on the September 30th. So you can go back on September 28th, or you can be starting today, go back and answer all of the previous challenges through the month and complete as many as you can. And then we will award Amazon gift cards to the winners at the end of it.
Yeah, that was actually a question I was going to ask. So you just answered it. What are they competing for? Give them a little bit of an initiative or a little bit of incentive to be able to jump on this game.
So a lot of it is just the bragging rights and some of the aspect of it. A lot of people that are on the challenge really are there to learn and how to better build their preparedness kits. But we really started to figure out how we can engage people more, and that's why I award more points for people using pictures or videos. You know how social media works. It's important to have those visual components versus just a written out answer. And so I award extra points that way of trying to get that interaction with individuals that are playing. I started a few years back because after doing this game for now 10 years, 11 years, We had people and players that had been doing every single year, and it didn't feel fair to them to have those basic, simple challenges every single year. So we added the level up. So every challenge has a basic level to it for the beginner, the first, maybe their introduction to preparedness, or they're just getting started. But the level up that allows somebody that's maybe a little bit more along in they're not a prepper yet, but they're along in that process, that gives them a little bit more deeper dive into what they can do for preparedness.
That sounds good. It sounds like an amazing program, and as we mentioned, there's so many different aspects that go to not only just emergency management, but preparedness in general, making it fun, and it goes back to what we learned in our executive academy, right? Game theory, right? Making it fun, making them compete,
Right.
making it something that they really want to do.
Yep.
So Todd, you wanna take us to break? Oh, if he's not okay, I'll take us to break because Todd's having a little bit of a coughing fit there. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, and then we'll talk about a little bit more about your program and ways that you're looking at maybe expanding your program next year.
Yep. Oh, mercy. Huh?
Probably because of my internet, right?
Are we back?
I think we're back.
All right.
All right, Eric.
Sorry about that, everybody. I have, that seasonal changing of the weather, type stuff going on here, and
Sure, the smoke's not helping either.
yeah, it's been pretty crazy. So appreciate you taking over for a second there, Dan. So Eric, I know Dan was asking those questions before we left regarding changing content and stuff like that. But like, how do you come up with your content? Because that's always like as emergency managers, we know we share and we collaborate all the time, but it's like coming up with content all the time is like always hard. So what's your work process like?
So I usually start this process in March, and I start making a list of potential challenges that I want to do, and just making a master list that I can get 50 to 60 type challenges or topics that I would like to talk about in the year. There's, like I mentioned, there's about 10 basic ones that happen every single year, and so I can narrow that down and working around that. I usually use some of my volunteers and a few other people to help ask ideas. Even on the Facebook 30 Days, 30 Ways page, I'll put a post out there asking people if there's something that they want us to potentially add into there. And so I'll ask our players what they would like us to add into the challenges and see if we can make that work. One once we get a little bit closer into the summer, usually I start taking that list and narrowing it down into my final 30 topics that I want to do, and trying to then figure out a theme related around that to bring in some way of a new twist or something on that challenge. And then I've had the opportunity in times in years past bring somebody else in and maybe help find a different voice to write that challenge. But most of the time it ends up being with me, and then trying to figure out a new angle or twist to make the challenge a little bit different each and every year if I possibly can. Some of them it ends up being the same thing, but I try to make it a different twist and add something a little fresh to it each year.
So Michael asked, how do you try to convince the community to maintain? And he says he always pushes the time change idea, changing clothes and items for fall to winter, spring, and then for late spring to summer, fall stuff. So how do you keep that going?
So yeah, that's one of the things, and I've done in there is thinking about how we keep the game generic enough because of having players across the entire country, that there's different hazards and risks across the entire country. And so what I might tell my community in Vancouver, Washington to prepare for is completely different than somebody that lives in Florida. And so making sure that they have the right items in their preparedness kit and knowing what and how to tie into their local emergency management is important. I do those types of challenges when switching out my kits in your vehicle for the times of year, and we try to write that in, of thinking about how do you rotate your items, how do you keep those things fresh to keep it on people's mind and thinking about it. This year with COVID, it really allowed us a new twist on a lot of things, because COVID changed a lot of things that we were doing in talking about what we thought preparedness was like before. We kind of opened the door a little bit of how to reevaluate some of the things we were doing, because COVID changed a lot of what we thought about preparedness.
It did. So
Nobody thought we'd be
know.
stuck at home for 6 months.
Yeah, no
I'm
kidding.
sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, nobody thought we'd be stuck at home for 6 months. We at least had power and electricity, and internet, but nobody planned that would be your emergency. So.
Yeah, just we got to think about the different different aspects of it. We may be stuck home, or we may be asked to leave, so we have to be prepared on either end of that, and it's hard. It's hard. We get complacent sometimes. How do you try and encourage your audience not to be complacent?
Well, I really try to encourage people to, freshness. Up until this, I talk to people. I really try to encourage them to think and use events that happen every day around them or that happen on the globe, and how we can make that fresh into what if that would happen here. It feels like we're very complacent in preparedness, and unfortunately, until something happens to us, we really don't want to think about it. But I really try to take some of those events that happen around the globe usually, and make sure that people are thinking, what if that happened here? And I think COVID has opened that door a little bit for people to think that can happen here, even if you haven't had a disaster emergency in your community for years. That opportunity, that realistic thought pattern that it can happen at any time at any place.
So what type of work do you do with schools, high schools in particular?
So we are able to work and partner with a few of the high schools in Clark County. I do go into part of some of their days, and we talk about preparedness in there. Part of my overall preparedness program that I do for the agency I work for is dealing into our communities a lot more. And so I've partnered with some of our schools to really bring preparedness and thinking about volunteering more than anything else as part of that, as a part of giving back to their community. I think that's a big part of them having an understanding of their community is that volunteer aspect of it, and then the basic pieces about being prepared for emergencies that they might happen in their community, and understanding that.
Do you have because you said I heard you say you have volunteers? Do you have internships and programs like that related to college?
So I really wish I had that program. I had a volunteer. I have one volunteer that is just outstanding and amazing. That's helped me through a lot of it. She's also our volunteer program coordinator. and she has stepped up to the table to help with a lot of these aspects of things that I do, and helping do some of the events. But then she's able to help me organize some of our CERT volunteers for when we do National Night Out, or when we do our usual county fair, those types of events of staffing, 10 days around the clock pretty much, or 12, 15-hour days, a staffing boost to be able to talk to people about preparedness, or National Night Out to be able to do 17 different events in one evening around the community. So that's those are really kind of great to have that opportunity.
All right, so let's as we start to sum up, tell us about your program. Give us a little pitch on your program and how people can find you and contact you.
So I work for Clark Regional Emergency Services Agency, which is the 911 emergency management agency for Clark County, Washington, which is in Vancouver, just across the river from Portland. My main role is public information and outreach there. And so I'm really responsible for making sure and talking to our community about being better prepared for emergencies, understanding and having them understand their role, being part of a resilient community, and then also sharing public information and making sure that they know where to find information when the bad things happen. And so really connecting with them and making sure that they're tied into that process. It's an uphill battle that, that every time I feel like I'm gaining some place, I realize there's another pocket or community in there that I haven't reached into. So we're constantly trying to reach out and expand that messages and reach more into the community.
So we're coming to the end, as we said. We're coming to the end of Preparedness Month, but we're going to be going into October, which comes with the fire awareness and also the Great Shakeout. You have any plans for the Great Shakeout?
So we usually tie in Washington State and California, Oregon all hold the Shakeout on the same day. Some other states across the country do it on different days. But we really tie people in. We kind of highlight a little bit with our state what's going on there. Our agency all ties in and does the Shakeout. We do some of the selfie drills where people take a picture under their desk and send it in to us. And so we try to really use social media and highlight those aspects of things and really engaged in community to be better prepared for earthquakes.
That's awesome. Eric, thank you so much for your time today. I know that, as things are moving around pretty fast up there, and with everything that you're doing with the 30 days and 30 ways, and then also the Great Shakeout things coming up and all the PIO stuff that you do. And thanks for taking some time out of your busy day. And also tell your mom I said hi.
All right. Thanks. And it was great seeing you guys again. It's been a long time. We need to have a reunion. So absolutely.
All right.
We can do a Zoom reunion.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for spending your morning with us here at TM Weekly, and thank you to the sponsors as well, because without them we really couldn't do what we do here. And also find us on your favorite podcast player, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and more. And don't forget to tune in to Dan Scott's show on Wednesdays, the EM Student. And of course, producer Brian, thank you for your time and the beautiful music that you're playing.